morning, Taurus. Welcome to Essence Reflections Tarot. My name is Krista. This is your reading for the week of June 24th to 30th, 2019. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when your next reading comes out. And if you would like your own personalized reading, you can check out the link to my website in the description box below, and I can get started on a reading specifically for you. And again, thank you so much for being here. And let's get started. And this is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. So in the physical, we have the Two of Pentacles. In the emotional, we have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. In the mental, we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. And in the spiritual, we have the King of Cups. So there's a lot of pentacles in your reading today there, Taurus. There's a lot of earth, a lot of practicalities that you're looking at and working through. And it looks like you are emotionally a little bit aloof and a little bit detached, and that's not looking like an unhealthy thing. It doesn't look like there's major shifts that this reading is talking about. It does look like you are in a time of you finding your balance and exploring that balance between earth and spirit, and between spirit and emotion as well, but from a much smaller stance than the earth and spirit right now. That's kind of taking up all of your mental space, it does seem like. And you're having trouble being in this space of taking stock. It's like it's on your mind, but there's also a block with it as well. And it's hard for you to maybe perhaps settle your mind. It might be time for you to kind of start making a list and start bringing these things in and putting them on paper so that you can sort them out and get them lined up. There's also a sense that you're feeling removed from abundance right now, and it's definitely something that's rooted in your emotions. Something's happening for you emotionally that is causing you to feel it's keeping you from feeling the full depth of the abundance and the community that's available to you right now, because there is a great harvest that you are really on the cusp of reaping, yet there seems to be some blockage that's standing in your way. And it doesn't seem to be anything internal or external. It seems to be an internal pattern of thought, pattern of behavior, and certainly it could be a feeling of not being worthy, a feeling of not being ready to really step through this threshold that's in front of you. And maybe you're not even quite aware of what it is that is going on around you and what it is that you're seeing. Maybe you're so used to being surrounded by something different that now you're not recognizing what's there for you. And this is definitely part of finding your balance and finding that ongoing dance that happens in trying to find the balance between earth and spirit. And I don't know that you are necessarily the type of person who tends to think that in order to be spiritual, we need to be kind of physically living in a less abundant space. But if you are, it's maybe time for you to challenge that belief system, and time for you to consider that perhaps abundance can go along with being spiritual, and that in order to grow and strive, you don't need to have the hardship around you in the way that you have felt that you've needed to, and that there is a way for you to embrace abundance and yet still keep your mind and keep yourself focused on what it is that you desire for yourself in terms of personal growth as well. It can be a distraction to have a lot of wealth around us, and that's often what we have been taught, especially those of us who come from a religious background. But that's not necessarily the case. It does not necessarily have to go that way. We can find a way to enjoy some abundance and to take stock of what's around us physically without losing sight of our spirituality as well. Perhaps it's time now for you to really start embodying your spirituality and really start paying attention to the world around you and where you're living, because we are here to experience this life. We're not here to bypass it. We're here to experience our emotions, to feel what it's like to be in our body and to feel what it's like to interact with the world around us. And that can be a little bit frightening at times. It can be a lot, there can be an allure to living in the spirit all of the time as much as possible and trying to stay out of this kind of messy world that we live in. But we are here and we do need to pay attention to what's around us, even when it's not always comfortable, because definitely living in community with others, there are things that come up that are not comfortable. I'm really getting the sense that this is, you are grappling with the concept of spiritual bypass and it applying to you in a way that you hadn't thought it did. And now you are being pulled down to a more earthy sense and a more being here and being in this body and being in this experience and embracing all that it has for you, and having a hard time figuring out how exactly that can go while you still maintain your spirituality. And this is really a step through the threshold into maturity. Staying in spiritual bypass is a sign of growth that still needs to happen. And there are many rewards to being in this world and looking around and seeing it for what it really is. But it can be very painful and it can be very sad, really, when you look around and see what's actually happening. But it's absolutely, if that's what you're being called to, then embrace it, because it does have rewards that come with it. And it is so much better to be living in truth and be living with what's real, because it causes a lot of harm to ourselves and to others when we stay in a space of spiritual bypass. And if you're not sure what spiritual bypass means, you can definitely look it up. If you even just Google the term, there's going to be a lot of good information that you can find about it. And I really hope that this reading has resonated for you, and I would really encourage you to be easy on yourself through this process and to allow yourself to really connect with yourself. This is a huge gift that you are being handed here, even though it does come with those thorns. It is still definitely a gift worth having. Thank you so much for being here, Taurus. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you have an excellent week. Bye-bye.